Welcome to another episode of Reprogram the Game. I am your host, Lynn Sanford. And in this video, I'm going to go over my first fix and flip that I did. I spoke about it in my first video. This is basically how that turned out. So how my first fix and flip turned out, let's go. The first thing to note is that this was my first fix and flip. I've never done one before. I had taken some classes and sat in a couple courses, paid some money, for some education. So everything was theory, not having done it before. I had to leverage the knowledge of other people, the experience and knowledge of other people, but create a win-win for it. I'm not gonna ask them to help me out and don't offer anything in return. So I offered for them to make some money as well. So what I did, I have a cousin, my cousin Denise, and her husband Spencer. They're Baird and Warner's finest, baby, for real. They, I think she's been, I want to say at least from the late '80s, but it could be at least early '90s. So you're talking about at least 30 years plus of knowledge of being a real estate agent or broker, whatever they're called in your particular area of the country or the world. So you're talking about 30 years of experience. And so you're talking about prices in terms of what the values of home values are at, that particular time in your market, how long properties are, days on market, rehab budgets, different connections, whether it's inspectors, people that do roofing. Just different connections. You're talking about all those years. You've had to have a lot of different things done in order to get a deal to the closing table and actually get it closed. So I called her up and just told her that, I was looking to try to do a fix and flip. I had a couple of dollars and I wanted to throw my hat in the ring, and go ahead and try to make something like that happen. And she was like, well, I don't do the buyer side anymore. I'm strictly seller side. Like I list people homes for sale. I don't deal with buyers too much anymore, because of it's a couple extra hoops that they would have to go through, so she hadn't done it, but she was like, but for you, cuz I will go ahead and I would do it this one time. But if you want to do more after that, I'll put you in tune with, a couple of my proteges or people that I've kind of trained in the way that I do it. I was like, all right, cool. So put her down on the list. And then my buddy, Sean, which I've been knowing him since basically since we were 18. I'm 50 now. So I've been knowing him for a while. Come to find out, he had done 4 fix and flips. And now he had a 2-flat that he was holding as a rental. So I was like, man, well, you can help me along with the rehab portion of it. Kind of be like a general contractor, so to speak, and you would be basically project managing it for me, kind of helping me where they should be at certain points in time, go through, check it out, and things of that nature. So put them both on board. So one thing, you can't be afraid to partner with people. That's if you really want to scale and grow, you're gonna have to partner. There's only so much you can do on your own. So, and the good thing about me and Sean, we have 2 different skill sets. I'm more on the operations management side of it. He's more on the project management side. He can walk in a room or walk through a property and can be like, okay, man, yeah, it'll probably take about 50 grand to do this. As you walk through each room, okay, yeah, it's going to need doors, it's going to need windows, it's going to need flooring, it's going to need toilet, cabinets. So we might be able to keep these cabinets, we can paint them. Well, depending on what you need to do, he can kind of give you a ballpark figure of budget. You always run into things that you didn't foresee as you get into walls and stuff like that. So we didn't partner on this deal, but I just gave him, a few dollars just to kind of help manage it for me. So once I got my cousin involved, got her on board, she kind of mapped out a blueprint for me to reverse engineer it. So she kind of asked me, what was I looking to make? I was looking to make about $50,000 on the flip. You talk something like this is going to take 3 to 4 months. So it needs to be worth your time, and you need to have enough built into it. So if anything, changes that you didn't foresee, you can actually absorb some of that. And so maybe you don't get 50, maybe you get 46, but it's still worth your time. So we had to reverse engineer and back into our numbers. So we started basically with the zip codes that I liked, the areas that I liked in the city. Those properties, I wanted something 3-bedroom with 1.5 bath. We wanted that half bath in the basement because we already wanted the plumbing available. And all we have to do is expand it and make it a full bath by adding a shower to it. But the actual plumbing is already there. It's already a toilet and it's already a sink. So we wanted 3 beds, 1.5 bath. Properties like that in that area at that time, the market was sizzling. I mean, people were buying properties and selling them, just cleaning them up, just getting the furniture and stuff out, and cleaning them up, man, and just putting them back on the market, making $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 in like 3 weeks. I mean, so the market was sizzling. So at that point, those type of properties were going for like $250,000 after repair value. That's what ARV is. So the after repair value, after you fix it up, make it its best self, $250K. So $250K, and I want to make $50,000, and that leaves $200,000 for everything else. So my max purchase, because it's gonna, once I get it, it's gonna take, $20,000 to sell it. Now going back, you want to go ahead and get yourself a real estate agent, because as the buyer, you don't pay for it anyway. You know what I mean? The seller pays both buyer's agent and seller's agent out of their commission that they make. So when I do choose to sell this property, once I fix it up and sell it, she gave me rough rule of thumb numbers. Okay, so it'll be about 20 grand to sell it. So we did an average, say, okay, we want something that's not gut rehab. We want something that's kind of simple. You get in and out. So we looked at 50,000 rehab, 20,000 cost to sell it, all the closing costs and all that type of stuff, $50,000 profit. So that left 130,000 left. So that's my max price, my maximum allowable offer for me to be able to purchase one of these properties. So maximum allowable offer, 130K, max rehab budget, 50K, 20,000 to sell it, $50,000 profit. That's 250K. So now I need to find something that I feel that my agent feels that we can get 250K for. So this is what we found. I purchased the property in March 17th of 2022. Now here's the story on that. I'm looking for these properties. It's January when I'm looking for this property, and we had just had like a snowstorm, so it was snow all on the roofs and stuff like that. So you weren't able to inspect the roof, but you were able to walk through the property and things like that. So January, my cousin printed out. She found me 7 properties. 7 properties to go walk through. Out of those 7 we walked through, I like 2 of them. 2 of them fit the criteria. So the best thing to do is, before you even go look at properties, to run the ARV, and they'll do what's called a CMA, a comparative market analysis. She did the CMA. So let's say she found 12 or 13 properties. She picked them kind of with the knowledge you have. You can kind of look at it and be like, okay, man, this might work. So then she did the cost comparative market analysis on the properties on the 7, and we saw these 7 would be 250,000 ARV. So we go look at the 7. Out of the 7 we looked at, 5 of them would need more than $50,000 of rehab, so they were out. The other 2 we were good with. So go to them. The one we found, it was a raised ranch. It was about 1,200 square feet. So we put in our offer for it, and we put in our offer for both properties. Some people don't like you to put in multiple offers at one time, but because the market was so hot, stuff was going on the market, and getting taken off in a week. So you can't afford to put all this time into something and then put in an offer and somebody get it. Now you got to go through the process all over again. So we put in an offer for both properties. We went 10,000 over market, whatever their asking price was. So if they asked 110, we were offering 120. You were having to go over market just to get the offer accepted. So having done that, both offers got accepted. I'm like, wow, okay. So both offers get accepted. The property that I wind up getting, it actually was the person was deceased, and now his beneficiaries had got the property. So in January, they weren't able to sell at that time. They still had to go through some formalities with the paperwork. So I was like, okay, well, cool. When will it be available? They were like, we probably can't sell until March. I'm like, dang, I don't really want to wait that long. I was like, okay, well, cool. I still want it, so keep it. I might try to get both of them. So now I'm working on the other property. We go through that property. Some more stuff comes up. Long story short with that, it's going to need a little more work as we get deeper into it. Time passes by. The lady, the older lady and her brother, they elderly people, she's changing her mind because she grew up in that house. And her mother left that house to them, and now she's having second thoughts. And I'm like, man, we getting ready to get stuck and not have anything. So fast forward, that took 3 weeks. You're going through that. Now it's close to the time for the other property. I'm like, you know what? Scrap this one, and we just go ahead with the property from the other people, which turned out to be a blessing at the end of the day because it turned out to be a perfect first flip. So here it is, March 17th. We closed on the property in 2022. Purchase price, they offered 100. They were asking 110. We offered 120. 120 got accepted. The seller, I asked for a $5,000 credit. You always ask for a credit. They give it to you. If they don't, or you may get something in between. I asked for like $5,000. They gave me $2,000. They said, we ain't giving you $5,000. We give you $2,000 credit. So that comes off of money that I have to bring to the table at closing. My rehab budget, once we go through everything and itemize it out, $55,650. I use hard money. So I use a hard money company. Your credit doesn't have to be good. It doesn't go off of your credit. It goes based, your credit will get ran, but that's just going to base what interest rate they charge you to borrow the money. And they'll give you the money for the acquisition as well as the rehab. They hold back the rehab money though. So they pay the property at closing, and then the rehab money they hold back. And then what you have to do is you have to come out of your pocket and start the work. And then you get paid basically off of things that are finished. So if you said we were going to do flooring and paint this room, then you have to do the flooring in order to get paid. You can't just have a bunch of different things started but not finished. They're not going to reimburse you your money. It's called a draw. Okay, so did the draw. So I got the $55,650 for the budget. So that total was $175,650 is what my total acquisition and rehab cost is. The ARV, so they're going to send out their own appraisal company. They're not going to go off of what you say is worth. They're going to send out the people lending you the money, going to send out their own appraiser. The appraiser is going to come out and they're going to look at the property. Saying what you have to do is once you put it under contract and you put your earnest money down, I put $1,000 earnest money down. Once you put your earnest money down, then you have like 5 days to have an inspector come and inspect. So that's what happened. When the inspector comes out, he may see some things you didn't see. They're going to go through crawl spaces and all that stuff, but they couldn't look at the roof because it was snow on it. So 245 is what the appraiser said it was worth. We did our budget at 250. So the appraiser, we still feel we can sell it for 250 because the market is high. So the appraiser at 245. So it's a solid deal in the terms of the lender. It's money in that deal. I'm only in for 120 on the purchase, so 175 altogether. Sell it for 245, so still money in the deal. My down payment was $28,310. I put $1,000 earnest money down, so my balance due at the closing was like $27,310. I had to pay that at closing. You just wire the money, at the closing. So my loan amount, because I put down $28,000, my loan amount, what I'm actually paying the mortgage on, is $154,650, which was 63% of the ARV of that 245, because I didn't have experience, according to the lender. Now even though I had my buddy working, his name wasn't on the contract, on the mortgage. So if you don't have experience, if your credit score, things, all of those things will count in terms of how much you're able to get from the lender. They have programs where they'll give you 100% of the acquisition and 100% of the rehab. You don't have to put nothing down, but you got to have a lot of experiences. You have to have like 100, experiences, fix and flips or rentals. So I didn't have that. So, okay, so let's keep rolling. So $154,650 is my loan amount. That's the amount that I have to pay back at the end once I sell the property. And my monthly payments on the mortgage was like $1,072. And once I got all of my draw money, once I received that entire $55,650, then that was going to go up. I think it would go up to like $1,600. So I needed to have that sold like at least a month after. I didn't want to have too many of these monthly payments because all of those are holding costs. You got your ComEd, your light bill, gas bill, depending on the time of year. So all your holding costs, all that stuff is going to add up too. So bought it in March, sold it in September. So September 9th of 2022. So it was a 6-month process, longer than I was expecting. I was expecting to be out of there in 3 or 4 months. I sold it for $250,000, which is what we were shooting for. However, the new buyer, the end buyer, they wanted a $5,000 credit. I granted them the $5,000 credit. So my net sales price is at $245,000, which is where the appraisal came in at. So all the numbers fell kind of where it was expected to fall. So now that payback of that loan amount, that $154,650, and then the closing costs, because the buyer wanted me to put in a little more into the escrow of the taxes because they felt the taxes would go up more than where we estimated because of the amount. This is a $250,000 purchase now. And so even though I gave them a $5,000 credit, the purchase price is $250,000. That credit just comes off of their closing money. So they have to bring less to the table. So they were saying that taxes were going to go up more than where we estimated. So they wanted me to fund a higher amount of the escrow. So my closing cost estimates were a little more than where we estimated at first. But even still, so with the total fees, was $176,650. So you minus that $176,650 from the $245,000 that I was actually selling it for. My profit, the actual deposit amount after the closing that was put in my account was $68,350. So I did better than what I expected to do going in. So just here's a few pics of the property. So when you look at it, and I apologize if the befores on some of them may be a little blurry, because as you stretch them and expand them to make them fit the screen, they lose some of the character of the picture, but you can get the gist of it. So yeah, it's a raised ranch, 1,200 square feet. What we did, we had the front power wash. Some of that stuff at the top on the siding portion, we couldn't get it 100% white, but and we didn't want to paint it. So yeah, but we power washed it so the brick looks a little better. We painted the railings. We painted the shutters. We didn't have to put windows in. We kept the windows they had all throughout. That was the thing that we did. We liked that the hot water tank was new. So all of your mechanicals, the hot water tank, the furnace, the AC compressor, all that stuff, we kept all the stuff that was already there. So we did that. So we, put a new new screen door, new entry door, and we changed the curb appeal with that flower bed. We took some of those dead flowers out. We put some mulch in it, new brick, just kind of spruced it up, put a new mailbox on it. I put a Ring doorbell on there, and I left that for them. I left a Ring alarm system as well. I just took the Wi-Fi. I had a mobile Wi-Fi inside to, you need to be able to monitor your property. If somebody try to break in, you put your appliances in there. We put all new appliances, stove, refrigerator, microwave, the stainless steel ones, washer, dryer. We put all new appliances in it, refrigerator. So you don't want people coming in and watching the house and, you know, come in and steal your appliances. So I had a security system on there, Ring alarm system, Ring doorbell. Yeah, so that's the front. Oh, also, when I got it, if you could look at the grass had a lot of weeds in it. So what I did, I paid a True Green. I had them come out. They would come once a month and spray the grass. So they spray it and make it look pretty and green, and it kills the weeds. And I had a company come by and cut the grass once a week. You know, keep that grass cut, make it look like somebody's living in it. You know, you see how the grass looks there on the before versus how it looks on the after. We also skim coated the concrete, the porch and everything. I'll explain that later why we had to do that. So this is the living room. And funny enough, the property is actually empty. There's no furnishings in the property. This is all virtual staging. So this is just a little app you can have that can do it, or you can have a company do it, you know, send them the pictures and then they stage it for you and then send you the pictures back. So there's no furniture in there. That fruit bowl, none of that stuff is in there. The only thing that's there is if you look on the counter to the right, that gray box and the white box, that's the alarm system and the the portable Wi-Fi. That's it. Everything else is virtually staged on the after. The before, that's, you know, of course, what they have. So if you notice, we put it in an open concept. We knocked that whole top half of that wall out so that you can see. We wanted to open it up, make it look a little bigger in the front when you walk in. So we put that open concept in it, and we took that closet out because there's a closet back towards this way by the front door. I'll show you a picture of it, but it's another closet there, so we didn't even need that closet. And you can even look at the steps. I mean, the steps, what we did, redid them, painted them, redid the wood flooring. So this is from the side of the front, so you can kind of see everything that's done inside. And this is what it really looks like. It's really empty in there. All that furniture that you saw is just virtually staged. That's the closet door to the right. That TV, none of that stuff is in there. That's the same picture you just saw. So yeah, this is virtually staged. The flower pots, all that stuff. That's the front door and the closet. We changed all entry doors, all the entry doors in the whole entire house. We put in new entry doors and all that stuff. We also put recessed can lights. We love recessed can lights. Anything we do, we're putting recessed cans in there. Give it that look, you know. And the new style now, I'm not going to say new, it's been probably for some years. The paint scheme is gray with white trim. That's anything you say. I know a few years back, it used to be they would paint it all white. Everything, the whole place would just be painted all white. The more recent theme now that you're seeing, everything will be painted gray with the white wood baseboard trim. So that's the new color scheme theme. And we just went with that throughout the entire house. That's the entire, like, the living room and dining room portion. That's the dining room on the left, again, virtually staged. So yeah, this is how the dining room looked. That's the side door. So that's the second way into the property. So yeah, and that's going into the basement. That opening right there, that's going down into the basement. And then the stairs going up, that's what's going up to the bathroom, is that first door on the left. And then the 3 bedrooms, like you see one right there, and then there's 2 on the right hand side. So those are the 3 bedrooms upstairs. This is the kitchen. So we opened it up, we brightened it up, put the white cabinetry on it. They were thinking about keeping the cabinets, painting them, but once they took them out, they were kind of ruined, and it wasn't able to keep them, which is good. You know, this is an end buyer anyway, so they, you know, you want everything to be nice. We changed all of the ceiling fans, all the light fixtures, and, you know, throughout the property. New sink. We put that's a quartz top. We didn't even do a marble countertops. We did a white quartz. You can't see all the detail and the flakes inside of it, but it's gorgeous. And yeah, so to go your stainless steel, the stove, the microwave, the refrigerator you would have had to see on the other picture. Change the flooring. This is the main bathroom on the first floor when you first go up those stairs. Yeah, we changed it up, put, you know, everything, new vanity, new sink, new mirror, new toilet, new tub, and then all of the all your tiling and all of that good stuff throughout. This is a little bigger picture. I couldn't get a whole picture of the other side of it, but you'll get to see on the bathroom downstairs. It's very similar. So we even got the recessed cans inside of the shower downstairs. Now, one thing I didn't know, when they rehab, they don't put the shower door on. It stays open like that. So I didn't know that. I thought when they rehab it that the that they would do the shower door as well. So when my buyers came in and they walked through the property and liked it, that was one of the things they were like, oh, that's part of the reason I had to give them that $5,000, because they were like, well, we need you to go back in and put doors on the shower. So my agent with the experience, it's like, nah, what we'll do, we'll give you a credit, $5,000. You take that $5,000, do however you want with it. You know, you can go buy you some doors, you can get custom doors put on, or you can just get the, you know, the things you just put up top and hang your showers from those, the adjustable ones you can go buy. So yeah, but we changed that thing out. And I'll tell you a little, at the end, I'll go over like some of the issues I ran into being the first time and not knowing it was an issue with the shower. So I'll let you know that too. So yeah, but same thing, new vanity, new sink, new toilet, mirror, lights, recessed cans, brand new tiling, all that stuff. And yeah, Cortez and them hooked it up, made it look real nice. That's a more fuller picture. You know, you have to do your electrical hooked up with the correct outlets in place in your kitchen and in your bathrooms. I only put one bedroom on here because you're not able to get the full view. I didn't have all before pictures of all 3 bedrooms, but we took the one of them had carpet in it and the other ones had some other type of flooring. They weren't all of the real wood, so we had to put the vinyl plank wood flooring down. This room is empty, but it's virtually staged, you know, so you can kind of, when we put the pictures up, and another good thing the agent did is they had a professional photographer come out and take the after pictures. They had some maids come in and they had the maids come in first, clean it up real good, and then they had the professional photographer come in and take professional after pics. And they had a brochure printed up, and it was like maybe like a 4 or 5 page brochure with all the professional pictures in it, and it had it in a little magazine holder, so when the people came in to look at the property, they can take one and take it with them. And I still got a few of them left over. That did wonders. It looks amazing. This is what the room really looks like, and that's the gray vinyl plank, the wood flooring. Had to do new closet doors, new bulbs inside the new globes with the pull string coming down. And again, that's the full view of what it looks like virtually staged. The rooms aren't super, super big, but they aren't small. I've seen super small rooms. They're kind of medium size. So you can have your bed, your TV, and still have room to maneuver around, but they're not super, super huge. The place it's only 1,200 square feet. And now, depending on where you are in the country, you're probably looking at it like, man, houses cost that much? Or you could be in San Francisco, or New York, or Washington, and be like, man, you can get houses for that cheap? So Chicago market is a fairly high market, but it's markets that's way higher, but it's a lot of markets that's way lower. So this is kind of where we are in our market, you know. So 1,200 square foot property, you can get them for that price like that. This is the basement, and this was the crown jewel for me when we went into it. I figured this is what was going to seal the deal for me to get my price. I wanted that epoxy floor put in that basement. We did them kind of loft style, so we left the ceiling exposed. We didn't drywall the ceiling in. It's kind of like one of the new things they're doing with the rehabbing, so it looks loft like. You put the recessed cans in there, but you leave it exposed and you paint it black. It doesn't look like it from the picture, but it's actually painted black. And put that epoxy floor down. We call it the bowling ball floors because it looks real marbly. You know, you got your gray and all that stuff and some light blue sprinkled in a minute. That epoxy floor is what sells the property. So that's what the basement looked like. It was carpet down there. We took all that stuff out. We actually had to reconfigure the basement, and I'll like I said, I'll tell you about that when I get to that portion of the issues and lessons that I learned. Sorry about the blurriness of it, but that's the full basement before, and that's the full basement after. But it's still a portion where you actually walk through before you get to this fully open area. Coming down those stairs, the bathroom is right there at the bottom of the steps, and then when you make a right, that's where your washer and dryer and the furnace and hot water tank, all your mechanicals, is in there. And it's like another little closet up underneath the steps, your steps from upstairs, up underneath there, which is where like the sump pump and all that stuff is. So you have to come around and curve. Like I said, we had to reconfigure that basement and change the pathway from the steps to get to the door to get to this open area. But this is virtually staged. Now this is the side of the house on the east side. We had to actually concrete this because what was happening when we got into the kitchen and they pulled that floor up, the subfloor underneath was getting water, because what was happening, the water was saturated. Like you get a heavy rain, it was saturating that dirt and that mud, and then it was leaking into the kitchen. We couldn't see it until we actually pulled the floor up. So the best way to remedy that was to concrete that part. And man, like I said, Cortez is a concrete guy. So that, and actually the neighbor on this side with the mulch wanted him to do theirs. They looked at it, was like, man, how much you charge to do this one? They wanted theirs done. I don't know if they ever got it. This is the backyard, virtually staged. Look how pretty and green that grass is, man. So yeah, you had them people come out and spray. I could probably go by there next year and it won't look like that because they're not gonna keep the company coming out and spraying it. But yeah, but there's no furniture back there. It's completely empty. That's virtually staged. But it just gives them something to look at and kind of give them ideas to see what it would look like living in it. It makes it feel more like a home when they look at those pictures as opposed to it being vacant. So these are just little tips. That's a bigger version. So yeah, that was the compressor, the AC compressor that was back there. I just had to charge it up, put some more Freon in it, and then fix one of the wire coils, and that bad fella freeze you out of there. Definitely. And that's the garage. The garage, all of the siding was done already on the house in the garage, brand new garage. So all I had to do was it was only one remote for the garage door. I had to just go get another remote, program that. Took like 10 minutes. Easy peasy. So yeah, knock that out. This is a pro tip right here. My attorney put me up on this, and this again is leveraging the expertise of other people. He told me, he said, and that's the refrigerator. You can see the stainless steel. So he told me, he's like, man, what you do, because the buyer gets to go through their final walkthrough before the closing. And they go through, make sure, all the little stuff they saw that they wanted you to touch up and fix, you go in and knock them out. They do their final walkthrough. He was like, man, what you do, you go buy some flowers. Then this is for the woman. It was a couple, the male and female couple purchasing the property. What you do, you go buy some flowers and you put the flowers on it. It's a card, congratulations on your, buying your first home. I hope you enjoy it, that type of deal. And the two garage remotes, and then a set of keys for each. So I had a key ring for the female, like a pink key ring, and then I had a key ring for the guy, which was like a blue key ring. And I put a key ring and a remote, and a key ring and a remote on each side. But with those flowers and with that card, and man, when they walk through and when they open that door and they walk in and they see that, it touched him. He was like, man, you could put a gallon of orange juice in the refrigerator, just something to say congratulations and thank you. And it's just a touch of class. And they liked it because they told their agent told my agent. And they got back to me. They was like, man, she was so touched. They even shot a video. So like whoever their agent was, everyone that purchased a home through her, they shoot a video, and they holding the flowers, holding the car. So that really did. He was like, man, you do that, you won't have to worry about somebody backing out at the last minute after that. And it went through. So yeah, so that's all of the before and after pics. Now these are just some issues and lessons that I learned from doing my first flip. First thing, that purchase date wind up getting pushed back. That was something unexpected because of the type of deal that it was. It was basically, I'm not going to say it was a probate deal, but it was similar to probate because it was basically coming through a deceased person to their beneficiary. So they had some additional paperwork they had to knock out. Now, when I talked about that bathroom in the basement, we missed when we were deciding, okay, yeah, we'll put a shower. We were gonna back it out more into the living area of that basement, put the shower there. But when they got into the walls, the stack was there. That black pipe that's in your basement, that plumbing pipe that runs to the main outside, the stack was right there. You can't move the stack. Well, it ain't worth moving if you can. So that would have probably cost way too much money. So we had to reconfigure where we were going to put the shower. So instead of putting the shower back where we had some room, we had to put the shower on the side of it where you see it and make it out. So that went out into the pathway, the walkway getting into that room. So what he did, he had to put it on an angle. So instead of it going down the steps and then going straight through, we had to go down the steps and then you make a right turn and then it goes on an angle, because you still had to have the laundry room right there with the, with the room they needed inside. So that was a thing we missed when we were talking about where we were going to put the shower, was that stack. So you definitely want to, first thing you do when you go in that basement, find that stack. Definitely. First draw complications. I did not know that, because each company is going to have their own rules. So the company that I had, I did not know that the work had to be completed before you could get the draw per se. And the guy that I had used, he liked to bounce around. He didn't like to finish something and then move to the next. So he bounced around a lot. So I was $20,000 in out of my pocket, which why I wasn't able to purchase two. I had money. I was trying to do two properties at the same time, but I couldn't because I was feeding the project in order to get the first draw. So that's something you definitely want to be aware how your draw complicate. I'm not going to say complications, but each company is different that you use. You want to know that company's process for how to use their draw. Concrete in the east side of the home, like I said, with the water. These are issues that you don't see when you walk through initially, and then not even the inspector could see it. He don't know that it's water damage under there. We didn't see it till we pulled the floor up. So it's going to be things that you'll run into. You need to account for that. It's over. So probably like 10 grand when you do your budget. If you think it's going to take you 40, say 50. You think it's going to take you 50, say 60, because you're going to need that contingency money. And this particular company makes you put a contingency amount in there. So we had that in it as well. Water on the basement floor. That side, when you first look at the front of the house where we had to do a skim coat, we had to put that skim coat on because during a heavy rain, the sidewalk on the west side, the other side of the house, was facing in toward the home, toward the basement, as opposed to running off away from the house. So water would build up and saturate, and then it would leak into the basement. So it would get a little bit of water down when you first walk down those stairs. So what we had to do, I wasn't putting concrete on that other side too. I wasn't busting all that. It was too much to do. So what I had him do, I had him put a seal coat around the property and then skim coat the concrete and try to pitch it away from the house. It was a cheaper fix, like $1,200 to do that, as opposed to $5, $6, $7 grand to redo the concrete. So we chose to go that route right there, and it'll last for a few years. If they don't salt, in the Chicago winter, don't salt it, it'll last longer than that. Condensation, man, what happened? That air conditioner, that pipe in the basement and the ceiling that runs from the compressor to give them the AC. When we put that new Freon in there, that bad fella was kicking in so good, the condensation was leaking off the pipe. And I'm coming down on that epoxy floor, and there's water droplets. I'm like, man, we got to fix that. Simple solution, just put some new insulation on it, knock that out. Contractor took too long to rehab the property. Small company, only about 3 or 4 people, and they work slower, plus they're working other projects. It took him 6 months. That should have been a 3-4 month process. So I was in there 3 to 2 months too long. and all that stuff add up because that's more holding costs. That's more of everything, more another mortgage, 2 mortgages at the higher price, so yeah, you definitely want to have your people get in there, do a great job, and get out. FHA, when you're dealing with flips, when you're selling them to an end buyer, depending on the areas that you're in, more than likely you'll be dealing with FHA. Conventional, like a lot of agents, when they're taking their buyers to purchase homes, or let me say this, when they're selling the homes, the listing agent that's selling the property, if a FHA person that's approved from FHA and a conventional person, they're going to take the conventional because there's less headache and less stress dealing with the conventional loan. However, in the areas that we're in the inner cities, more than likely you'll have a FHA person, because that's FHA is going to help people who don't make as much money. They're going to help them with the closing, so it's a little less money down. So more than likely you'll be dealing with FHA. Now with my property, I made more than double. I sold it for more than double of what I purchased it for. Purchased for $120 and sold it for $250. So when you do that, FHA requires 2 appraisals. So they'll come out and appraise. He'll come back with his report, and then a week or so later, they'll send a different guy out, or gal, a female. They'll come out, they'll appraise and what have you. So what happened? The first person came out and appraised. Now we already behind the gun because we're months behind. So I'm ready. I need to close like yesterday. This guy comes out, appraises, everything's fine. Boom. I'm like, cool. Appraise for the number we needed to appraise for that $250. Second guy comes out. He notices that we forgot to put smoke detectors and CO2 alarm. I'm like, why the first guy didn't see that? So, but that's something my contractor should have caught and put in at, that you gotta have that experience. I know now, so that'll never happen again. So yeah, that now I gotta have, when people come out, go in and put the smoke detectors and the CO2 detectors, and have the appraiser come back out, because they have to come and reappraise. You can't just send them pictures. FHA, they ain't having it. So you can't just send them pictures of, they got to send this guy back out. So now you're talking about 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, so from the first appraisal to the last appraisal where everything's finalized. But then that took so long that now we needed a new payment stub from the buyer, because their other payment stub is expired now in terms of the recency of it. Now remember when I told you that when we looked at the property, it was wintertime, snow on the roof, so we weren't able to have the inspector inspect it. And I never looked back at it, because from the street, from looking at it, it looked like it's in good condition. But now when the buyer's inspector looks at it, they see some spots that need to be repaired. So it was 3 things they needed. The roof needed to be repaired. The bathroom sink upstairs had a leak in it. And the sump pump, had some issues. So I had to have, my agent, she knew, okay, she called her plumber, like, yeah, I need you, because it got to be a certified plumber, certified roofer. They got to come. So they came. Another word of, when you put them appliances in there, make sure you have, like, if you got your warranties and all that stuff, because you can give those to the buyer to make sure, so they can be at ease knowing that all the appliances and things like that. So they were wanting guarantees on the compressor for the AC, for the hot water tank, but we didn't have to put those in. Those were in good condition. Another thing you could do, you could always purchase the home, like a home warranty. I think it's like $1,200 for the year, and everything in the house will be under that warranty. So if something went wrong, you could purchase one of those. But what we did, I had a certified roofer come out and repair and patch. And then I had another guy that comes, he's a certified roofer, and he has a drone, flies his drone over the top, and he looks at the work that's done, and he certified the roof. So that roof is certified to be viable for another, 10 years and what have you. So that certification allowed me to not have to buy the home warranty type of deal. Sump pump, simple. The just needed to be cleaned out and, plugged in. The dang on thing wasn't even plugged in, but it's up under the steps, so he had to climb in there to get it. Sink leak, that was very simple. So now this is the thing. When I put it on the market, I'm excited. Like, okay, cool. We put it on the market. First 3 days, crickets. Not one phone call, not one, nothing. I'm on that back end now because the market is starting to change. I've had this thing for 5-6 months. It's gonna be 6 months. So the market has changed. Interest rates are going up. So now people, what they're approved for isn't stretched as far. So I'm like, damn. So I'm getting nervous now, because we on this back end of the numbers changing. So I'm like, man. So my cousin, my agent, she was out of town, and she's like, okay, well, we got 2 more days. I think when you listed, you get like 5 days where it's considered new. So she's like, okay, well, we got 2 more days. And after that, you don't want to start dropping the price too fast. So she's like, what I'll do, if nothing happens in the next 2 days, then I can come and I can reboot it through and something she was saying. So I'm like, okay, cool. So when we got off the phone, like that next day, I had 3 appointments that got scheduled. From those 3 appointments, the very first couple that went in is who actually put the contract on and bought it. But I knew they were going to buy it because I had that Ring doorbell. So anytime a mosquito fly on that thing, it's hitting my phone, and I'm looking. And when it hit and I looked and I saw them, they were standing on the porch holding up the brochure, and the agent was at the front of the sidewalk taking a picture of them. And I'm like, oh man, they taking pictures of the front like it's theirs. And that was the only offer that I had on the property. I had two viewings. I had 3 appointments, but by the time that 3rd appointment happened, the first people already put an offer on. So I only had the 1 offer. So when they put in the offer and was like, we'll pay you your $250, but can you give us a $5,000 credit? My agent was like, take it. Because you don't want to, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not getting ready to nickel and dime it and wind up having to sell it for $230, because it was a house right down the street, a block down, that sold, same size, that sold for $230. Now, where I bought that house, a block down, my coworker just bought her house in the August of the previous year. It was a little bigger, but she paid $275. So I figured I could get $250. So yeah, so that was why I went on and gave him that credit. Like I said, the closing delay took so long, but I had to submit another stub. I told you about the additional escrow taxes, and I just made it on the tail end of being able to get the top dollar for that property before the interest rates really kicked in. So now here's the pivot. Based off of my experience that I had with the fix and flip, and my partner, my buddy Sean, was telling me, he was like, man, I don't even like doing fix and flips anymore. I'm holding rentals, because with the fix and flip, your numbers are different. You have to, the materials, the quality of materials you have to put in there to sell it to an end buyer, because this is their home, especially if they're a first-time home buyer. You have to put more money into it, where if you just fixing it up to rent, you can make it look nice, put your recessed cans in there and all this good stuff, make it look real nice, but for way less money, because you don't have to put the very best quality of materials in it. It just needs to be livable, it needs to be comfortable, it needs to be clean, and it just needs to look nice. And that's all people really want. So we pivoted from the fix and flip to the rental. So now what we do is we buy 2 flats. The ultimate goal is to purchase big commercial multifamilies, 50 units, 100 units, like that. But while we're building, I mean, we got the network of people with the money that we're able to get to them. Is just finding them, being able to find them where the seller isn't trying to get top dollar in a market where your interest rate is going to be 5.7% and your mortgage is high. Now you're not cash flowing. You have to be able to cash flow. So what we're doing, we're buying up things that we're able to buy just off of us too, which is your 2 flats, 3 and 4 flats, which are considered residential. When you get into 5 and above, that's considered commercial. So we're buying all of the 2s, 3s, and 4s. So we started off with this 2 flat in the process of being rehabbed. And the whole reason why is, like I say, renting it out changes your numbers versus selling to an end buyer. We can take something, a 2-flat, and put 60 grand into it and have it rentable and looking awesome. Where, you know, the family coming, we like Section 8 too. So we will have it hooked up to where Section 8 can come in and, you know, the little child walk in like, man, this our house, mama? Like, yeah, that's how you want it looking. But you only spent 60 grand for it, versus if we were trying to sell that, you're talking about 100 grand to put in there to fix it up, to get it to the point where you can sell it. You know, so yeah, that's where we at with that. Also, we don't have to deal with FHA. You know, it's less of a headache because we're keeping it. So we're gonna keep it. So what you do is your numbers got to work though. So you buy it, you force appreciation in it, and you fix it up, because like with residential, the value of that property is based off of comps, comparable properties in that area with similar features, similar bedrooms, similar baths, similar square footage, brick versus frame, you know, so similar features, that's what's gonna say what the price of that property is worth. Whereas commercial is based off of the net operating income. How much income is this property generating? And that's whether it's industrial, whether it's an apartment, office. That's what commercial is based off of, is the net operating income. So that's the income minus the expenses, except mortgage. You're not counting the mortgage. The debt service don't get counted in the commercial. So when you're dealing with that, you just have to make sure your numbers work. So you buy it, so you got your money you put down, and then we're getting to the point now where we only have to put 10% down of the purchase price. The rehab budget is a separate thing, even though it's included in the loan. That's a separate piece, because you're paying that back anyway. They're reimbursing you that. So that 10%, now that changes my number. So now I could go in, I can purchase something, put down my 10%, and then once I fix it up, once we fix it up, rehab it, then we refinance it and we cash out 75%. So it's still 25% equity in it. When we cash out the 75%, that gives us our money back that we put in. Now, once we take that money, now we can take that same money and we can do it again. And there's no tax ramification. When you do a fix and flip, IRS is going to want tax money on that profit that you made. Now, you can do a 1031 exchange and roll it over. But if I do a 1031 exchange, then I don't actually have that money in my pocket. I needed the money to infuse into the business to go buy other properties. So I didn't do a 1031 exchange. But when you do a refinance, that's a loan. There's no tax paid on that. So we take our money, we put into it, fix it up, put renters in it, get those leases. Now we can refinance it. We cash out 75%, pay off the old loan, and everything that's left over is what we keep tax free. And then we take that and we just go do it again and go do it again and go do it again. And you basically flipping the same money over and over and over and over and over. Another benefit is less transactional. When I skip. So another thing is banks want to see that you own stuff. So it's going to come to a point where you're going to want to go to the bank and get money, you know, for your business capital, business funding. The bank is going to want to see that you own some stuff, and they're going to want to see that you have cash flow coming in. When you fix and flip, that's a one-time thing. This is less transactional. You do your work on the front end, and then you continue to get paid on it every month in, month out, year after year after year. That's what you want. You want that cash flow, and you want the less transactional aspect of it, because if I do a fix and flip, make a couple of dollars, now I got to go do it again if I want to make some more money. And you want to make some more money, you got to go do it again. Whereas this, I buy this property once, and now it's ours. We have that. And it just continues to pump us. So you're not getting as much on the front end or on the back end as you do when you sell it, but it's better in the long run. It's a better marathon play, and it's better for you. So you get your cash flow, less transactional, and the banks want to see that you own stuff, because ultimately what you want to do is you want to get all of your bills as much as possible. You know, you'll still have your personal light bill, gas bill, but you want to get everything out of your personal name into your business name. Car notes, mortgage payments, all that stuff, credit card, all that stuff, man. Your personal credit, you can have it, you should be good, but you shouldn't have a bunch of stuff on it that you're using like that. That should be all business credit, and the business credit should be separate from your personal. That's the ultimate goal you want to get to. Build up real good business credit, and it's separate from your personal, and all of your majority of your bills is on the business credit side. And that's when you win it. $150,000, $250,000 line of credit. You can go buy a gang of these. You do this all day long. So if you're thinking about doing a fix and flip, it's definitely doable. And once you do it once, your confidence will change completely. And nobody can tell you can't do it. You know, people can tell you anything before you do something, and you kind of doubt yourself. You're on the fence. Once you do it once, you'll never look back again. So it's definitely doable. So this is what you need: a quality real estate agent or broker, whatever you call it in your area. Like I say, what you got to lose? The seller is paying for it. But they'll do everything for you. They'll fill out the contract. They'll submit the contract. They're talking back and forth between agents. You know, they have access to things you don't have access. They got the MLS, so they're able to see properties. They can send them to you. They can set up different searches for you, and you'll get them sent to your email. It's just a better experience, and you're more hands-off with it. And you just look at it and say, yeah, I like this. You have your areas. So yeah, get that quality broker, man. It's save you a lot of headache. It will save you a lot of headache, and it don't cost you nothing. It only costs you when you selling a property. When you buying it, the seller pays that. It ain't costing you nothing. Go ahead and do it. Key though is you got to know your numbers. You have to know them numbers, man. You got to know, and that's where that agent will help you, you know, but you still, and they can help you with the rehab. So depending on who that agent is, can help you with the rehab. If you can find an agent that's also an agent, but they also invest, that's the holy grail right there, because now that gives you that much more knowledge, because they're looking at it from an investor's perspective, and they're going to want you to make money because they're going to make money, you know. And if you're flipping, that same agent that I went and bought the property with made their money on the purchase, and then when I sell it, that same agent makes their money on the sale, so they get paid twice. You know, so it's a beautiful win-win for them. So they're working for you. However, they're working to get their commissions. So it doesn't cost you anything. But you got to know your numbers. You need to know what you can purchase for. Just reverse engineer and back into it. You're going to need to know the rehab, the ARVs, the after repair values. Closing costs, you know, you'll get those. But just I'm speaking in terms of the 20,000, whatever that is in your area, like what it'll be to sell it. So 130 on the purchase, 120 on the purchase, 50,000 rehab, 50,000 profit, and 20,000 to sell it. Those are your numbers. Now you look at the ARV. Does the ARV sustain this amount? Then that's what it is. But know those numbers, man, because that's the key. That property needs to sell for pretty damn close to what you were expecting it to sell for. You need to be in that ballpark. Startup money. This is one of the downsides of why people don't get into real estate. Why some people do wholesale, because wholesaling is not that amount of startup money for you. But if you got some money and you're able to do it, I highly recommend it. You can go get loans for money. It's different places like Lending Club, you know, things like that. The interest rate is higher based off of a person's credit, but I don't trip on interest rate when I'm using money investment wise. You know, if I'm buying a depreciating item, then yeah, the interest rate, that matters, because this is something that's depreciating and it's not bringing in money. But something that's going to bring you in money and it's short term, why would I care if I'm paying 12% interest for hard money? You know, 10% interest for hard money when I'm only going to keep it for 3 months, 4 months, and then I'm going to make 68 grand. You know, that's just a part of the equation, you know, the cost of money. Now, if you're able to get it for cheaper, that's even better. Then your numbers, your margins are even bigger. But there's places where you can go get the money, or if you have a family member that has money, partner. Like, look, I'll be the expertise and knowledge. I'll watch it. You just go ahead and you can invest, or, you know, just go ahead and put the money into it, and we can partner up and we split it 50-50. You know, you can do it like that. You need a quality contractor, somebody with a track record that you've seen their work. and you know how they get down, and they can work, and the quality of work, because it's gonna have to look good when people come to get it. And then I got a resource for you. You can go to a site called Bigger Pockets, and it just talks about everything real estate, the BRRRR method, which is what this is. Where you're talking about buy it, rehab it, rent it, refinance, repeat. So it's B and 4 R's, called the BRRRR method. You talk about that, just all different types of people on there, from attorneys. That's where actually I met my attorney, my real estate attorney. I met him on Bigger Pockets. Different things like that, but you got to expand your network. And but if you do these things right here, and you need a lender, like a hard money lender, something like that. But man, you can do a fix and flip. You can do it in the next month. Just get everything set up and go for it. You can definitely do it. I'm no better than you. I just follow through. Something I saw that I wanted to do, I just followed through. That's it. That's all. I'm just here to spark that thought. I'm here to give you the keys to open all the doors. It's just up to you to walk through them. If you like what you heard, if you learned something, which I hope you did, like it. Don't keep us a secret. Share it. Subscribe, because this information could possibly help somebody else. You never know. It may spark the thought in them, and they may want to partner with you. That's what it's all about. It's all about that. So once again, Lynn Sanford signing out. See you on the other side.